Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday Westside Wellbeing with myself, Jamie from Coaches for Change. Today we are going to be doing a 20-minute Pilates session. So we're actually going to start down on the mat or the ground today. So what I want you to do is carefully bring it down to the knees. And again, if you need to pop a cushion under the knees just for that little bit more stability, feel free to do so. And two options here, you can either tuck the toes underneath and sit onto the heels, or you can come flat-footed and sit down onto the heels from there. So all we're going to do, what we're going to take the hands back behind us and we're just going to elevate through the chest. Just allow the head and the gaze to sink back behind you. And from there, we're going to lift the head, slide the hands forward, slightly lift up onto the knees. And from there, I just want you to round into your mid-upper spine, so into your thorax part of the spine. You should feel a bit of a contraction into your upper abdominal muscles here as well. And from there, we're just going to carefully rock it back onto the heels. And again, you can keep the toes tucked. So I'll keep my toes tucked this time, just so you can see how that looks like. Take the fingertips back behind you, and then just start to allow the head and the gaze to sink back over the shoulders. Lovely stuff. We're going to go one more of each so we get that flexion as we come forward and round through the mid to upper spine, getting a bit of a contraction into the upper abdominal muscles. And if that feels a little bit too much, just release that slightly and then lift back up into that position. And from there, we're carefully going to take the fingertips back. I'm going to tuck my toes underneath this time. And again, we get that extension through the spine this time, as we take the gaze back over the shoulders. And from there, we're just going to carefully bring it forward. So from here, what we are going to do is we're going to sit down on the heels still. Arms are going to come in front of you, and what I'm going to do is rotate myself so I'm facing towards you. Palms of the hands are going to tuck up. We're going to tuck the hands and the elbows back behind the torso. And we're just going to start to lift the arms straight up through that shoulder line. Just starting to mobilize into the shoulders here. And what I want to do next time we drive the arms forward, we're going to lift up onto the knees, squeeze into the glutes, and then carefully lower it all the way back down. Again, lifting through the hamstrings, squeezing into the glutes as we work through the shoulders and the arms. And again, I'm in a position here where I've got my toes tucked under, so that just brings that elevation point that little bit higher. But if I tuck the toes under, that's going to sink me that little bit deeper down towards the floor. And as we drive forward and lift through the hips and squeeze into the glutes, we're just going to have to utilize the hamstrings that little bit more here. Lovely stuff, everyone. We're just going to go for 3 more. 4, 3, squeeze into those glutes. 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, very nice. I'm just going to rotate myself around slightly, because what you're going to do is you're going to bring your right foot forward. So we're creating that nice 90-degree angles through both legs. From here, then what I want you to do is step that right foot forward that little bit further. Bring the hands down towards the floor as you pitch the torso forward. So you should feel a nice stretch into your hip flexor on the left-hand side, really contracting into the hip flexor on the right-hand side. And we're just going to hold here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff. What I need to do is then tuck the toes under on that back left foot, and we're going to start to lift that left knee. So we're going to lift the left knee off the ground. I'm going to move my arms so you can see the movement of my legs. We lift the knee up and then we lower it back down, really trying to keep that lead right knee over that lead right ankle at all times. And if anyone wants to challenge themselves slightly, if you bring your hands onto the hip and lift the torso, and from there, lift that knee and then lower it back down. You're going to get a little bit of movement through that lead quad as well. We're just going to go 4, 3. I'm going to bring it back to this position, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. So what I want you to do is rock back onto the heels, extend that right leg straight out in front of you this time. Bring the hands to the floor, working through the fingertips as much as possible. And then what I want you to do is tuck the toes underneath and lift that back knee again. So you're coming into somewhat of that partial parallel split stance. Really focus on your breathing. Nice big inhales, nice big exhales. And we're just going to hold 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. We're going to sink that left knee back to the floor, keeping that right leg nice and straight. And as before, we're going to start to pulse through that back knee. So we're going to lift the left knee up, lower it back down. Lift the left knee up, lower it back down. Again, working through the hands on the floor. We're just going to go for 3 more. 4, 3. Really working into that lead hamstring. Working into that quad on that back leg. 4, 2. And 4, 1. Lovely stuff. Everyone, nice, carefully slide that right foot forward. And we're going to switch it to the other side. So this time that left foot is going to come forward. Keeping a right angle in the knees and the legs to start with. And then carefully just slide that left foot forward a little bit deeper, allowing you to sink the hips down and forward, bring the hands down onto the floor with the mat. And again, this time getting a real stretch into that right hip flexor, a real contraction into the left hip flexor. And if that feels a little bit too much, you can tuck the toes again on that back leg, just to release a little bit of that tension. Obviously, everyone, so from here, what we are going to do, we're all going to tuck the toes underneath, and we're going to start to lift that back right knee again. So just pulsing up through that knee and the hip, keeping a nice bend in that lead left leg. And again, if anyone wants a bit of a challenge, bring the hands onto the torso, onto the hip, elevate the torso, and then start to lift through that back right knee. We're going to go 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Rock the torso and the hips back, allowing you to extend that left leg straight out in front of you. And then from here, what we're going to do is pitch the torso forward. And I want you to curl the toes through that back right leg. And we're going to start to lift through that right leg again. So we lift the knee up, lower it back down. So again, working into that partial parallel split stretch here. This is really going to stretch and lengthen and mobilize into that lead left hamstring as we pulse through that back right quad for 3 more repetitions. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment, carefully bring yourself out of that position. Take a little bit of water on board as well if you wish to. Because from here, we're going to bring it to a standing position. And what I want you to do is we're going to open up that stance nice and wide. Just down, so a good way outside of shoulder width apart. We're going to hold here for a moment and we're going to take it that little bit wider. So how we do that is you're going to turn the heels out and then you're going to turn the toes out again. That's going to open up that stance that little bit wider for you. Lovely stuff, and we're just going to hold here. So this is really stretching into the adductors on the inside of the thighs, working into our internal hip mobility and flexibility in that lateral plane of movement. Getting a little bit of activation into our glute minimus as well, that runs around the base of the back and into the side of the pelvis. Lovely stuff, everyone. We're just going to hold for 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. We're going to turn the toes in. We turn the heels in. We're going to turn the toes in again. We're going to turn the heels in again. From here, we're going to take it down into a sumo squat. So what I want you to do is think about lowering the hips straight down towards the ground. And we're just going to hold here. Really keeping the emphasis into the adductors and the hamstrings, a little bit of the quads. We're going to elevate, and then we're going to take it back down. Nice and steady, nice and controlled. Really think about pulling the belly button in and zipping it up towards your diaphragm in the base of this wide sumo stance lunge. We're going to lift the hips up. We're going to lower them back down. We're going to start to repetition this now. So we lift the hips up, lower them back down. We're going to go for 5 more. We go for 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely, so we're nice. Turn the toes in, turn the heels in, turn the toes back in again. So we're going to take that stance just outside hip width apart. So we're about shoulder width apart. We're going to go in some squat holds from here. So arms are going to come straight out in front of you. We're going to sink the hips straight down. Take a little low as we can. See if you can break that hip line. See if you can really sit down in towards those heels, but just find that range that works for you. And from there, we're going to elevate all the way back up. We're going to sink the hips down, pull the belly button in, lift it up towards the diaphragm and sink those hips as low as we can. And this time, we're just going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to elevate all the way back up. Now we're going to put some repetitions into it. So we're going to squat down, see if you can bring the hips down to that knee line, maybe taking a little bit below the knee line. We're going to go 5 more repetitions. 4, 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely, so nice. Feel free to give the legs and the quads a little bit of a shake. Take a little bit of water on board again as well if you wish to. So from here, we're going to keep it with the legs. We're going to go into something called a scooter. So what we're going to do is you're going to take that right leg back behind you. You're going to bend down into a nice deep reverse lunge. So keeping that lead knee over that lead ankle on that left side. That right leg's nice and straight. Bring the hands onto the hips, pitch the torso forward slightly. And all you're going to do with that right foot is step it in, step it back. Step it in, step it back. Really keeping the emphasis into the quads here on that lead left leg. Keeping the emphasis into the quad, the hip and the glute. And then we're just working through the quad and the hip and the glute and the calf on that back leg for 5, for 4. This is going to burn for 3, for 2, and for 1. Ooh, lovely stuff, nice. So yeah, that cut out, we're going to balance it out on the other side. So I'm going to rotate myself around so you can still see. So this time, right leg is going to be that lead leg. Take a slight step forward. Take that left foot back so we're on the tiptoes and it's nice and long. And we're keeping that lead right knee over that lead right ankle. We're going to pitch the torso forward slightly, and from there we step the left foot in, take it back out. Step the left foot in, take it back out. It's all that movement's coming through that left hip and that left leg. Really working the hip flexor, the glute, a little bit of the hamstring, the quad and the calf. Keeping the emphasis into the quad, the hip and the glute on that right leg. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Now I stand up nice and tall, give the legs a little bit of a shake. Should be getting a little bit of a sweat on by now. And now I am. So from here, we're going to bring it down onto the mat. We're going to lie onto our sides, and what I'm going to try and do is make a nice straight line from the shoulders all the way down to the knees and bending through the knees, so kind of right angle through the legs. From there, staying on that left forearm, all I want you to do is see if you can lift the hip up, sink it back down. Lift the hip up, sink it back down. So really working into the obliques here that run down the side of the torso, utilizing the rest of the abdominal muscles as well to lift the hips. We're gonna go 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Nice work, everyone. So from here, we're gonna straighten out through the legs. You're gonna take your right foot in front of you. So that top leg is always gonna be your lead leg. From here, we're gonna work from that same movement. So we're gonna lift the hips straight up, lower them back down. You're gonna find you get a little bit more range of movement with this one. And this is gonna start to integrate the adductor on the inside of the thigh, as well as the abductor on the outside of the left thigh. Really working those obliques. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. We're going to rotate around to do the other side. So we come on to the right forearm. And again, try and get a nice straight line from the shoulder all the way down to the knees. And have from the knees down, bent back behind you, creating that right angle. We bring that spare hand on top of the hip and we just start to lift the hips. Really starting to get some activation into the adductors here that support the rib cage, run round and support into the spine, run into the abdominal muscles as well. We're going to go for 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff. We're going to lengthen back out through the legs. This time, that left leg's going to come to the front. That top leg is always going to lead. Right leg back behind you. Reset yourself. Find that space. Spare hand on the hip if we can, or you can utilize the floor. And we're just going to start to lift through the hips again. This is going to get a little bit deeper into those oblique muscles. We're going 5 more. 4, 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Oh, so nice. Take a little moment. Feel free to take a little bit of water on board as well if you wish to. It's quite close and humid today if you're joining us live today. So from here, we're going to go into some more core work. What we're going to do is we're going to come up into a high plank position. From here, you can open up that stance a little bit if you wish to give yourself a little bit more of a base. I'm going to carefully rotate myself into here, and we're going to go into some single arm shoulder touches. So what we're going to do is bring one hand up to the shoulder, take the other hand up to the shoulder. Nice and steady, nice and controlled. If bringing the hand all the way up to the shoulder feels a little bit too much, see if you can just take it just over to the other forearm. Working that core. This is really going to work into that hip stability as well. And we're just going to go for 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely, so nice. Take a little moment, almost there. Working our way into the last minute and a half. So from here, we're going to take it back into that high plank position. So the hands are going to come shoulder width apart. Bring the shoulders over the wrists, extend the legs back behind you, tuck the toes. From there, what you do is squeeze the glutes, and we're just going to hold in here. High plank. Nice, really working the abdominal muscles, the stomach wall, the obliques, the glutes, the hip flexors. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees down. Lovely stuff, everyone. So we're going to stay in this position with the arms. We're going to tuck the toes under again. Knees are on the floor, and all we're going to do from here is we're going to do a double knee lift. So we're going to lift the knees up, lower them back down. Lift the knees up, lower them back down. So this is going to bring us into a partial pike position. So where we start to get some activation into our transverse abdominals that live right down in the base of the core. And we go for 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4. 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. We're going to go one more movement. We're just going to go into a hold. So we are going to go into a pike. So we're going to bring the hands forward again. What I want you to do is elevate onto the tiptoes. Carefully start to walk your feet towards the hands. See if you can keep the soles of the feet nice and flat on the floor. Palms nice and flat on the floor. This might give you the shakes a little bit, the Pilates shakes. We're just going to hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice. Sink the hips back down. Carefully bring yourself to a standing position. I'm going to bring myself down to the knees. And from here, the last little thing, we're going to lengthen through the spine. So take a nice big inhale. Lift the arms up above the head. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale and release. We're going to go 2 more. Inhale and lift. Exhale. Release. Last one. Inhale and lift. Exhale and release and rest. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice, fantastic. I'm going to stay down here. Thank you very much. That was a 20 minutes Pilates session with myself, Jamie. We will be back again next week with some yoga. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe. We look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good day. Goodbye.